Well, it's the 28th of January and the vaccine row is growing very, very quickly indeed. The tabloid press across Europe, particularly in Germany, absolutely scathing about the European Commission and the way in which they've handled this crisis. Now, of course, for me, having spent 20 years getting up in the European Parliament, launching lacerating attacks on Mr. Barroso, Mr. Juncker, Herman Van Rompuy, and many others in the EU club. You know, my whole point through all of it was they were unelected, generally failures in domestic politics who'd been shunted off to Brussels. And what authority did they have? What legitimacy did they have to set the rules for 500 million people? Well, I became the pantomime villain, I guess, with these attacks and these speeches. But I do hope now a wider audience is waking up to the points I was making. The bureaucratic commission were too slow in making orders for vaccines. In fact, their order with AstraZeneca was 3 months later than the Brexit British government. Now, I've not been praiseworthy of the government through much of this, whether it's care homes or track and trace or whatever. But in this regard, we're getting it right as a sovereign nation. So they're now in really big trouble. Yes, of course, there are problems with supply from AstraZeneca. We had problems too. You know, not everything goes smoothly with a process like this, which is why you have to get in early. Now, the last time I spoke to you, they were talking about the Pfizer vaccine being manufactured in Belgium, and we're due 3.4 million doses quickly. They were talking about that effectively being stopped from leaving the European Union and coming to us. But today, overnight, now, this ridiculous, completely unknown Cypriot woman, Stella Kyriakides, is now saying that vaccine produced by AstraZeneca being manufactured in the United Kingdom for UK government orders, that should be sent to Brussels. I mean, the arrogance of this is absolutely astonishing. But there is an opportunity here. Firstly, because we are going to have, before too long, enough vaccine to look after everybody in the United Kingdom, and therefore there'll be stuff we can use for export. But why don't we say to the European Commission, we are now prepared to have a conversation with you, but can you please stop playing silly buggers on the borders? Because I'm getting every single day exporters writing to me saying it is now easier to do business with North America and with Asia than it is with the EU. I mean, goodness me, we even saw a lorry driver going into the Netherlands having his ham sandwich confiscated. I mean, this is not the free trade deal, without tariff, without quota, that Boris Johnson's government thought they'd negotiated. And you've seen, of course, the screams of the shellfish producers from Scotland, with their goods being kept hours, perhaps even days, and some of it going off. So, number one, will you stop this nonsense at the borders? And number two, Britain's biggest industry is financial services. Now, goodness only knows why the British government signed up to all of this without anything in return for our financial services industry. Just this week, the European Commission have recognised that the American exchanges and clearinghouses have what's known as equivalence, meaning they're recognised to be legitimate, decent places to do business. So the US has been recognised this week, but thus far nothing for the UK. So please recognise the legitimacy of our financial services industry, allow our firms access to the European market, just as we allow you access to sell us lots and lots of motor cars, plenty of wine, Belgian chocolate, and many other things. And I think we've now got a fascinating position. They are in deep political trouble. You've got riots every night in Dutch cities. You've got the Italian government looking wobbly, perhaps a general election this year. And of course, everything the Commission have done here is manna from heaven as far as the Eurosceptic parties are concerned. And a British government who started this whole process back in 2016 after the Brexit vote in the wrong position. We have been the underdog all the way through. Barney has had the whip hand over us. We finished up with a deal that in some areas really isn't very good. Now is our chance to reset the balance. We now have the upper hand. Brussels know it. I know it. You know it. And it's time the government got into action. Let's have a conversation with Brussels, but they've got to start playing fair with us. We intend to play fair with them, but they have got to stop this nonsense at the borders, recognise our financial services. Wouldn't that be a good start? And the time to do all of this is right now.